Hey everybody, welcome back to Filecoin Foundation's DWeb Decoded podcast series. We're doing a series of special interviews here from Davos, World Economic Forum 2025. I'm your host, Aaron Stanley, and today I'm joined by Sebastien Borget, who's the founder of the Sandbox. Welcome, Sebastien.
Thank you for having me here around this amazing view and being on the podcast. Thank you, Amir.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's pretty chilly out this morning, but we got the fire back up and going here, so we're going to do a literal fireside chat here with you. But why don't you just give us some quick background on yourself and the Sandbox?
So I'm the co-founder and COO of the Sandbox. Sandbox is a decentralized virtual world where anyone can become a creator and make their 3D content, virtual asset, or full games and experience with our no-code game maker, so no programming knowledge required, and publish them on a virtual land. We've grown as the largest platform, onboarded more than 400 major brands like Snoop Dogg, Walking Dead, Ubisoft, Attack on Titan, and many more. We also have more than 2,000 games published on the map and over 6 million users with a wallet that have been playing experiences on Sandbox, or hundreds of thousands of them owning digital assets such as avatars, lands, and more. I'm also the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. It's an association that now counts over 600 members and whose main mission is to educate about the potential of blockchain technology in the gaming industry.
Oh, amazing. And we'd love to dive into the gaming angle a bit later, but I wanted to ask just for more context on the Sandbox, because I know, if I'm not mistaken, the Sandbox, this was started before there wasn't even like a blockchain element to this necessarily. It was when it was originally started, right?
That's right. We started in
project.
2011. It was first a mobile game on smartphone. We were leveraging the touchscreen and one of the first user-generated content game where people could make their own 2D pixelated world, share it online in a gallery and play it. It grew into a large success with 40 million downloads, 70 million creation. But at some moments, we also saw the limits of just giving social recognition and featuring to creator. Monetization was a missing part, and that component only came later on in 2018 when we found about blockchain. CryptoKitties was the first NFT game, and applying NFTs to enable creators to own and monetize their creation.
And then talk a bit more about that. What was that kind of that light bulb moment that went off where you're like, hey, we have a great product now, but we can make this even better by incorporating blockchain and some of these Web3 concepts?
Absolutely. It was, for me, very hard being so close to all those creators on mobile game and seeing them living over time. And I was managing payments, using contract, using maybe PayPal to share a bit of revenue with what we were making as a company to keep motivating them to create. And so that was not able, we couldn't scale that basically, there was limits. When I found about CryptoKitties and I saw that people could actually buy those virtual cats, not only in the game, but outside of the game, and not from the developer itself, but from other players. And ultimately, they could buy using a cryptocurrency instead of a credit card. That really became that haha moment for us, wow, but if instead of virtual cat, just any content we have on Sandbox could be an NFT, we could enable all those three things for our creator: direct peer-to-peer transaction, and we with instant payments, and we are not even involved. So we say, all right, we have to start again over Sandbox, move it from a mobile game to a full platform, make it 3D, make it multiplayer, and use blockchain and NFT at the beginning, right from the core foundation of it. And that's how we really built this decentralized virtual world, enabling users to own their virtual land, their avatars, which is their digital identity, their content, being able to also participate into the economy of the platform through the utility token, the Sand, and ultimately now, with the DAO, taking one step further into becoming a digital nation. People can even vote, propose, vote, participate in the governance of how that world grows and evolves.
Super interesting. Let's pivot a bit more to the gaming side of things. Generally, you can touch on the Sandbox, maybe a bit more general with your role as with the Blockchain Game Alliance. And gaming is interesting because it's always kind of struck me as perhaps one of the more obvious use cases for crypto blockchain. And we had a nice run in 2021 with a lot of games that got pretty popular, but maybe they weren't the best designed as far as token economics and things. So a lot of these things didn't really perhaps end as well as folks had hoped they would have ended. But there's been a lot of money over the bear market invested in blockchain gaming. There's VCs that have spun up, multi-$100 million funds just devoted to blockchain gaming. But over the last few months, even as we've seen the market kind of coming back for crypto, and we've seen a lot of these other segments, whether it's AI or RWAs or some of these other segments of the market starting to rip. Like, you haven't really seen a lot of activity on the gaming front with a lot of these gaming tokens, or you haven't seen as much relative to other sectors. And I'm like, I would just love to get your thoughts on like where. But I mean, before I ask my question, we had Yat Su on earlier this morning, and he was talking about how, like, look, we've got GTA 6 coming out next year, and like in crypto, a lot of the momentum in crypto tends to follow what's the broader trends that are happening in the real world, right? So AI becomes a big thing in the real world. Okay, all these AI coins start pumping, right? Games becomes a big thing again. There's a lot of the narrative around games becomes really interesting in the the real world. Like, what can we expect to see kind of in the gaming sector in the blockchain world?
All right, a few considerations here, like incorporating blockchain and tokens, cryptocurrency or NFT isn't by itself alone sufficient to guarantee the success of a game. Like just any traditional game, you need good gameplay, good retention, live ops, and more. And so, like the first wave of blockchain game were very experimental and very focused and self-centered on the concept of like just cryptocurrency or ownership. So we've seen the rise and death and rebirth of play to earn with games like Axie Infinity, for example. Though, like for my 14 years now in gaming, I've never seen so much experimentation than in any other industry before than blockchain gaming. So people are ready to like push new business model to challenge the status quo of this free-to-play business model, which is now like kind of like on the decline, being very challenged, and that led now to like a decline in the gaming industry for the first time. A lot of layoff for traditional game company because they don't monetize as much as they do, or they are not able to acquire user by targeting them as much as they did, and so. Investment is important to support like the industry. It takes time to make great game, and last year and this year we're seeing game like Gunzilla by Off the Grid by Gunzilla, or Shrapnel, just to name like the AAA high quality game.
The Off the Grid was the Avalanche game, right?
Yeah, it's built on Avalanche blockchain. I think this morning I was hearing from their investors they have like 12 million wallet and users who own asset and transact and so on.
It's insane.
So it's showing how like good game can bring gamers through the technology and use of it, can create and grow like virtual economies behind it. Sandbox has grown to 6 million users, and we continue to deliver. Like just the last season, we have 580,000 unique players. We made 1 million blockchain transaction. We sold 350,000 NFTs to the gamer through our battle pass system. So we implemented good mechanic for engagement, fun, and retention behind. And one thing, like gaming is becoming broader through blockchain. I've seen like Telegram game as a great example of like more casual game that onboard a different audience toward like the notion of ownership and earning a little bit of tokens through airdrop, through participation, and engaging more and more progressively. So there is a natural evolution. I remain very optimistic. Yes, GTA 6 can actually drive forward, can be a challenge, by also like it will compete for attention and time of gamers. Like people are maybe 3-4 hours a day to spend between movie, entertainment, and gaming. We already know that Netflix is competing not just with YouTube but with video game, and that's why like they've been expanding toward that direction, like very clearly that their statement. So does the layer of ownership, does the financial incentivization brings more gamer? I do think so. We've seen that with Play to Earn. Does it bring new opportunity and new job? I do think so as well. Now, like the skills that you have are not only monetizable through esport and highly skilled competitive games, but like with more casual game, and Telegram network has proven that, but also like UGC game like Sandbox. And the fact that this predominant business model of free-to-play is being challenged is attracting more and more game developers to look for alternatives. So we're going to see an even bigger wave of games using the technology from like both AAA companies and indie game studios.
So this is my limited understanding of the history of games, but I think you've had a couple of like major paradigm shifts in gaming, right? So you had when you first had the launch of like the Xbox and PC games, and then in like around 2010-ish, you had kind of the pivot to like mobile gaming, which you were obviously involved in that as well. And that was kind of a big paradigm shift. We're like, okay, if you're going to have a successful game, like these, it's got to be mobile compatible, right? This is just where a lot of and then I mean, I guess the question is like over the trajectory of kind of the history of gaming and how this has evolved. I mean, do you see, or maybe, well, obviously we work in this, you probably obviously believe in this, but like, is there kind of a consensus in the industry, in the gaming industry, or do people kind of see where the ball is going here, or where kind of skating to where the puck is going? Do they see that this blockchain element is really going to be kind of the next like major evolution of how games are developed and played and consumed? Or is this still something that people are like, well, I'm not really sure about this blockchain stuff?
I think there is like a better understanding of what blockchain ownership and tokens can bring in the economies of the game. But I think there's a few things that the industry is pretty large. So it's hard to say there's like only one truth, one way forward for it. Like there's close to 4 billion gamers. On one side, you have like Switch and Switch 2 and like bringing more game made very traditionally by Nintendo on a for casual audience. And now like you have new technologies that appear. Like blockchain can bring, I think, an important impact on like economy. AI is being very is really the talk of the town now in the gaming industry and pretty much everywhere. I think AI can impact gaming in two ways as well. The first one is like just taking existing games and augmenting them in a way like NPCs, like those non-playable characters will be more autonomous, can give you quests, like you can have like companions in game, you can have like even sentient agent that will play with you or against you. They might also collect resources in the game and participate into the economies. But AI can also enable to create new content with Gen AI, like assets, levels, etc. But the next step is AI creating their own games, inventing new rules, and at the end we'll see new form of entertainment, new gameplays we couldn't think possible before, where we are actually constantly interacting in ways, and the core of the gameplay is actually designed through interaction with AI instead of like content made by traditional game designers, narrative designers, story designers, and so on. That is maybe where the industry is moving, like using AI as a companion for like the creativity, like the artists, designers, the level designers. They shouldn't fear the technology or the tool. They should learn how it works and see how it can help them creatively to design new experience. And the winners of tomorrow will be the one that like understand how, being early adopter of the technology, how they can leverage it to augment the pleasure that gamers have at the end of the day, the experience that they have to create something new every time.
And one final question here, and this is really on the on kind of the perhaps the consumption side of things, but with Amazon bought Twitch a couple of years ago, and Twitch was kind of the platform where I think really
streamers
this was
discovered.
Yeah, this is where this was kind of what really made esports so popular, is like what you can actually like, I mean, like I guess 20, 30 years ago, the idea that you could have like, video gaming as a competitive sport would have just been kind of ridiculous, right? But now this is like a thing that people engage in. There's, people watch this stuff, they love it, they form teams, they train, like they do all this kind of stuff. And Twitch was really the platform that I think, kind of facilitated all of that. And with Amazon buying Twitch, at least from my understanding, I'm not super close to this. But like at least what I've heard from other folks is that that Twitch has kind of maybe been, it's not quite the same experience anymore. It doesn't have it's losing perhaps some of the momentum of being this kind of shelling point where gamers and consumers go. And I'm just be interested in your take on how do you view like the kind of the consumption of the world of esports and just consumption of gaming, or this competitive gaming, maybe moving forward in this world of AI and blockchain, and maybe in a world where perhaps a platform like Twitch isn't quite as dominant. Is there an opportunity here for for clever new entrepreneurs like in the Web3 world to maybe step in and fill a niche here?
There's always an opportunity for like new entrepreneur to leverage technology to bridge the gap that certain platform have established, like to bridge the barrier to entry for like competition. So Twitch has emerged into becoming like this leader in like content discovery and eventually like driving like distribution for games to become successful. When like a famous streamer who become like a top content creator on the platform natively, not YouTube, not others, like found a great game, it had the ability to actually drive sales worth potentially hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars of that PC game. So that really gave a new importance in the role of streamers in the video game industry. Before, that role was really limited to the distribution platform like Steam, the App Store, the Google Play Store. You had to wait for like an editorial team to feature your game, and the featuring was potentially worth millions of downloads and dollars thanks to that. So it's really revolutionized the way like games are being published and distributed. And with blockchain, I think like and Telegram game has really proven it. Like decentralization, network effect can play an important role toward like content discovery, how games are found, how they are being then monetized, and how you build communities and involve them. Discord is actually evolving toward that. It started as the chat between gamers, but it's becoming more and more this platform, store, games, streaming, but also like potentially like inviting friends to join you within session, chatting together while we are playing, voice chat, video chat. It might become that, or like a new platform will emerge from Web3 incentive, from Web3 technology, drive the right incentive for people to discover content and maybe be rewarded as like their community, their followers, their fans, their friends are also playing the same game, playing together and so on. I think we're just still early on in like how we can experience game together in a social way, like how I can like discover games that I like based on my taste, based on my social graph. Blockchain can be an amazing solution for that. Blockchain can also provide like not only the proof, the idea of identity through avatars, but building your whole reputation as a gamer and into virtual world and online services. So now, like all the time you're spending across different games, all the experience you accumulate, the levels you have, can be proven and can be utilized to actually recommend you game that you like more based on like the kind of game you play, your level of skills, and so on, and also like allow you to build a certain reputation level so you can be trusted as maybe an influencer and so on. And finally, you were talking about esports. Esports is, again, like it's only representing a tiny portion of gaming where maybe less than 1% of gamers have access to like the prize pool and monetization, and they have to be the best of the best. Very competitive. I think gaming doesn't have to be competitive for people to earn. And blockchain can solve the problem in two ways. First, there was a strong lack of transparency around like the prize distribution in esports. So there's been many stories where like winners of tournament were still chasing after the big checks that were promised after them. And they need that money to keep like training, buying the hardware, traveling, and so on. The second thing is like with play to earn, we've seen the rise of guilds. Guilds can like communities of players who's distributing tasks between each other to collect resources. Those resources are actually valuable in game, can be sold on marketplace to drive a certain revenue through the transformation of the playtime, such as which can be considered a work. So these are new jobs. Now, non-competitive game can also enable people to like turn their dream of playing video game as a job, not just as streamer, not just as an esport player, but just as a regular participant. If I love to explore, if I want to collect only wood instead of shooting at people, I can do that and I can earn something. I can participate into an economy without being the best of the best in the world as the only solution to succeed.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, and I think it's a great point where with esports, it's like, yeah, this is something that's really only available to like the best of the best, people that are training, the most talented, people with the most time and resources and whatever, to be able to compete at that level. But for your average person, there's really no opportunity to monetize, right? But like the scenario you're describing, provides a way for just the average gamer to be able to contribute and to be able to earn and to be able to participate in this whole kind of like network economy and not just be a contributor, but also benefiting financially as well. So that's super interesting. So, well, Sebastien, I really appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us today. Wishing you the best of luck in 2025 and the rest of Davos week.
Thank you, and hope like you enjoy it. You might be curious to explore the metaverse, to play blockchain game now, and maybe start your career into them.
Well, hey, that sounds like a good path forward in 2025. Let's get it done. All right, thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back with another interview here soon.